some more. Shade it, shade it. When I learn graphing, it will make my grade in math soar. I'll take a test and I'm sure to get a high score. And I was thinking of ways that I could craft these lines. Today I'm gonna learn how, and I am starting right now. To know where to start, you'll need the y-intercept, and the slope will tell you where to go on from there. If you follow these rules, then you're graphing, I swear. Come on, shake, 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 shake it. Shake, 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 the shade it. Shake, 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 shade it. Shake, 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 the shade it. Shake, 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 the shade it.
Hey guys, hopefully that little introduction got you excited for our next video, which is over Systems of Inequalities. I promise that wasn't me singing at the beginning, but it will be me teaching you how to graph Systems of Inequalities, which is going to be somewhat of a review from last year. We'll be adding a couple of new things here now that we know how to graph absolute value functions, so we'll be bringing that back for this video. So let's go ahead and start. Just to review, a system of inequalities, just like a system of equations, is just two or more inequalities put together. And the solution of a system of inequalities is any ordered pair that makes all of your inequalities true. And so if you remember from last year, we solve all of our inequality systems by graphing. So we don't do elimination or substitution for inequalities, we just graph those. And we find our solutions by shading, and any point that is in the shaded region or the overlap region when we have a system would be a solution on our graph. So any point in the overlap region can be a solution on our graph. Okay, so let's go down to number one and just review how to graph linear inequalities. First of all, systems of linear inequalities. If you remember from last year, it helps if you have different colors with you when you're graphing these. So if you want to hit pause and go grab some colored pencils or highlighters or pens, feel free to do that. If you don't have it, that's fine, but it can make things a little bit easier to look at when you're doing these graphs. Okay, so I'm going to start with my first inequality up here. I'm going to go ahead and do this one in blue, and this inequality is in standard form, so when I'm graphing it, because it's a line, I want to change it to slope-intercept form. So I'm going to need to subtract my 2x from both sides. That's going to give me negative y is greater than or equal to negative 2x minus 3. And then I'm going to need to divide everything by negative 1 since I have a negative y here. And just remember, when you're dividing by a negative for an inequality, the inequality sign is going to flip. So this inequality is going to become y is less than or equal to positive 2x plus 3. So that's the line I'm going to graph, starting at my y-intercept of positive 3 and then my slope of positive 2. Keep in mind, inequalities can be dashed or solid lines, so in this case we're going to use a dashed line because we have our equal to bar underneath. Okay, and for this inequality we're going to shade below, since now that we're in slope-intercept form I have a less than sign. You don't have to do this first shading right here because, again, we're shading the overlap region. That's going to be our final answer, but sometimes it helps if you just shade this part here lightly so you can see where the shadings overlap. Okay, so this would be the shading of my first inequality, but this is not going to be my final answer because now I need to graph my second inequality, which is this one right here. It's already in slope-intercept form, so I can start with my y-intercept at positive 1. I have a negative 1/2 slope, so down 1 and right 2. For this one, I'm also going to use a solid line. And my shading for this one is going to be above the line. Okay, so now my overlap region is going to be this region on the far right here where I see my blue and my red shadings overlap. Again, if you can tell where the regions, where the blue and the red regions are without actually graphing those, without actually shading those, that's fine. The only thing I really need shaded is this final region that I'm doing in purple, But if you are shading the other regions, just make sure this is darker than the rest of it. Okay, so this should be the area that stands out right here. Now what that means is any point inside this purple region would be a solution of the system, meaning it would work in both inequalities. Any point in just this red region up here would work in my second inequality, but not my first. Any point in the blue region down here, if I tested it, would work in the first but not the second. And then this white region over here, where there's no shading, if you pick a point in this region, it's not going to work in either of your inequalities. Okay, so that's what these 4 different regions mean. Let's go ahead and look at number 2 now. We've got the same sort of system, one in standard form, one not. If you'd like to, just go ahead and hit pause and try this one on your own, and then once you're done, hit play to see if you got it right. Okay, and here's the solution to my second inequality. Again, I had my first inequality in standard form, so I needed to put it in slope-intercept form. That gave me a y-intercept of +2 and a slope of -1/2. This one was another solid line shaded below. And then my second inequality, which I did in red, already in slope-intercept form. Y-intercept was at -1. Slope was also -1. Another solid line, this one shaded above, so the overlap was in this little triangle region here in between the 2 lines. Okay, if you got that right, let's go ahead and look at number 3 now. For this one, we have one line and one absolute value inequality. And so I'm going to graph the line first. Anytime you have a y and not an x variable in your inequalities or your equations, just remember that's a horizontal line. So this is going to be a horizontal solid line through a y-intercept of 4. So there's my first line. Its y is less than or equal to, so I'm going to shade below that line. Okay, and then your second inequality here, this one is again an absolute value inequality. If you think about your vertex for this one, if you do your vertex formula, -b over m comma c. Okay, our b value in this case is -1, so -b would be +1. Over m is also 1, that's the number in front of x, and then your c value, there's a +0 out here, it's 0. So you have a vertex at 1, 0 for this one right here. You can also think this is a basic absolute value function right here, so the basic transformation rules apply. This would be from the parent function, a function where all the points are shifted 1 to the right. So my vertex in the parent function is 0, 0. For this one, it'd be a 1, 0. That's also a way to figure out the vertex. And we have no number here in front of x. Okay, so that means I can do my normal transformation rules. The slope of both my lines are going to be 1 and -1 that make up this absolute value graph. So I can go ahead and I can do a few points here. Just like that. That's what this graph would look like. Again, if you're unsure about the graph or it looks complicated, if there's a number in front of x, it's always best to do your vertex formula and then to use a t-chart to graph this one. But this is a very basic transformation. The only thing we're doing is moving everything to the right one. So that's why I can do this one without setting up a t-chart. So when I go to graph this, I'm going to go ahead and do solid lines again to make up my v. So there's the right half of the v, there's the left half of the v, and this is a y is greater than or equal to, so that just means I'm going to shade above my v, which in this case would be everything inside the v. So it's going to look like this. The overlap for this one is going to be here in this little triangle region between my line and my v. So this is my overlap region for this graph. Okay, and then finally, number 4, you've got a line right here in slope-intercept form, so y-intercept at +6, slope of -1/3. This one is my first dashed line we've had so far, so I'm going to make this dashed. And I'm going to shade below since it's a less than. So dashed line, and then we're going to shade below. Okay, and then for my v here, This is another basic transformation. It's a little bit more complex than the one over here, but again, if this m value right here is 1, you can go ahead and do your basic transformation rules, and that's okay. If that m value there is anything but 1, it's usually best to make a t-chart and do your vertex formula. So again, think about the parent function. The vertex for the parent function is at 0, 0. For this function, we're translating it 4 units to the right because of this minus 4, so we're going right 4, and we're also going down 3 because of that negative 3 out there. You could also do your negative b over m comma c. That would be 4 over 1 comma negative 3. So that would mean you have a vertex at 4, negative 3. Okay, but that's the same thing as doing these transformations. If we go right 4 and down 3 from the origin, we also land at 4, negative 3. So that's going to be my vertex for this one. Then you could set up a t-chart if you'd like to for this one, or you can just look at this 2 value out front. That just means that both rays that make up this absolute value function are going to have slopes of 2 and negative 2. So from my vertex, I can go up 2, right 1, up 2, right 1 for the right side of my v, and then up 2, left 1, up 2, left 1 for the left half of my v. Okay, and those are the same values I'd get, again, if I used a t-chart. So now let's go ahead and graph those 2 rays. And we're going to use dashed lines for this because this is a greater than, not a greater than or equal to, so the v would look like this. Okay, and then the shading for this v, its y is greater than, so I'm going to shade again everything above, or that would be inside for this. And my overlap region is again the region that's between my line and my v. So it's going to be everything in this area. Okay. The homework over this should be uploaded to your Google Drive, so feel free to start on that if you feel like you're getting this. Again, go back through, watch anything a second time if you need to. Until I see you next time, have a nice day. You're all wonderful people.